Swivl Sessions, interviews with field service entrepreneurs. Get insights and strategies from those who took the leap and risked it all to start their own home service companies. If entrepreneurship was a religion, our next guest, hands down, would be the Messiah, Levi Baumgras of Baumgras Consulting. Rob, what do you got?
Pope, maybe. Yeah, Levi, what a pleasure to have on and talk to. For sure, he's the definition of a serial entrepreneur. I think maybe his biggest issue is kind of focusing on that one or two things. But man, the energy and the level of persistence that he has shown over the years is incredible, and is going to serve him well going forward. So yeah, it was a lot of fun talking to him and seeing what makes him tick.
Too many people
running business.
Incredible. Too many people are just afraid to take that leap of faith. I've never come across anyone who just disregards that fear more than Levi. And he said something that I really loved. He's got the gift of grit, and he's not afraid to get out there to learn something new, to scale in a direction of something that he has no knowledge of whatsoever. So just an incredibly enlightening and inspiring conversation with Levi Baumgras of Baumgras Consulting. Enjoy the show.
Enjoy. All right, welcome to Swivl Sessions, where we dive into the world of field service entrepreneurship. Now, before we get into today's interview, let's introduce the host you'll be hearing from. First, we have John Tyson, who is so worried about that little nose sore. You would think it's a red beacon on a lighthouse. Relax, Captain. We can still see where you're going.
That's a little too personal. Appreciate that, Rob and Levi. I want to introduce you to the brains behind Swivl. He started the company, but let me tell you, don't ever buy this guy a cup of coffee after 1:35 p.m. Okay? Because he's not going to drink it. He's not grateful. Meet Rob.
All right, so it's back
from 3 days ago.
This was from 3 days ago, and you left at 1 o'clock saying, "Hey, can I get you anything from Dunkin' Donuts or whatever?" And I said, "No."
It's the thought that counts.
It's like, anyway. All right, so today we are excited to introduce Levi Baumgras, owner of Baumgras Consulting, a professional handyman business based here in Atlanta. So Levi, welcome to Swivl Sessions. It's great to have you here. How are things over there at Jeremy's house? You're not over there now.
Oh my God. Everything's good. Everything was good at Jeremy's house. Everything went smooth. I actually have 3 companies now. We have Baumgras Consulting. We're doing the home remodeling. We have Tree Hero Contractors, and we also have Baumgras Painting. So Baumgras Painting was something that I started to niche down as far as our specialty services, and just so that we can train guys and start to automate and scale one of these businesses. Baumgras Consulting really started as, long story short, it started out as a business to fulfill for this claims inspection position I had with Hancock Claims Consultant. Oh, you were a 1099 and you were an independent contractor. You had to have your own business. You had to have your own equipment, etc. That was the business that I utilized, because Baumgras Consulting, believe it or not, started out as a holding company just for the other businesses that I own.
Got it.
But they're not like contractor related. One's just a production company. I have a small microgreens farm, and then I also have an automotive business where,
Time out.
Yeah.
Microgreen?
Yeah.
And what else? I mean, can you get just farming and my God?
When do you sleep during the day?
Yeah, no, I sleep, believe it or not. This year was all about mastering like a 6-hour work schedule and being available on the weekends. So for the past 3 or 4 years, I've just been working every single day nonstop. And when you work for claims inspection, you have to work 7 days a week. And I was on the catastrophe team, so we were getting sent out on deployment to, in the middle of hurricanes or right after hurricanes to, God knows where, because it was like a nationwide presence. So I started out doing that, and then I realized, actually before that, I was kind of getting into roofing, and I was doing roofing sales with a buddy. And then he told me about the claims inspection because he was working on getting his adjuster's license. And while he was doing that, I ended up applying for Hancock, having all the necessary equipment and tools, and then I got hired on. And that was a bit of a process too, because that took like a month long of riding around with another guy in his truck, pretty much carrying his ladder and learning how to write reports, how to have the right attitude, the right rapport when you are dealing with clients. Really just showing you the ropes on all the dangerous stuff, the technology that they were utilizing, their CRM systems. And yeah, really, you didn't get paid. It sucked. You did it until you were
Apprenticeship, right?
literally,
So
you did
hold
it
on.
until you got good at it.
I just want to understand a little more. So you started off, doing a little roofing sales, and then you got hired by Hancock Insurance to do insurance inspections,
Claims inspections. Yep.
claims inspections. What kind of tools do you need for claims? You go there and you're like, yeah, the tree fell on that guy's roof. Here it is. What tools are you lugging around? And
So you get a tablet from the company. All you get from the company is a shirt, a hat, and a tablet. Other than that, and a lot of guys, if you had an iPhone, we'd use our iPhone out in the field because it'd load faster. But you start out with an Android tablet, and basically you got to have rope and harness. You got to have cougar paws, so you got to have the right shoes to be on the roofs. You got to have specific tools when being on the roof, just so you don't slip and fall off. Of course, like
mostly roof damage you're being sent for.
yeah, mostly roof damage. If you go inside a home for interior damage, or if there's a shed, it all has to be documented. You have to take a certain amount of photos from certain amount of angles. When you get on the roof to do roof inspections, you got to take a ton of photos, and depending on the insurance carrier, the protocol can be a little bit different.
So I'm just going through your timeline. All right, so you needed to start a company because you're a 1099 employee for Hancock, right?
Right.
This is where
And
Baumgras Consulting comes in.
right, Baumgras Consulting was kind of sitting there to the side, already created, but it was created just as the holding company for my other businesses.
Which were hobby businesses, or were they actually making
I had
money? Or
I had a microgreens farm. We had a whole warehouse, and we did that for about a year. But unfortunately, it happened right along the time of COVID. So we were blowing up, and I thought we were going to have huge sales. And then COVID restrictions just kind of came in, and a lot of restaurants lost a ton of business. Our clients that we lost our clients.
who were you selling microgreens to?
Man, we were actually shipping them to individuals at their homes. We were selling them to the restaurants. We were selling them at farmers markets. And then we also had a few bigger clients that were just sending them out to their own restaurants. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was a very, very unique time of my life for
Yeah,
sure.
all right. Wait, and then what else did you have at that time? The holding company for microgreens. I keep going to microgreens because
Okay, so
anyone who's microgreens.
So I started out in college. I was working as a forklift operator for Old Dominion, and my brother worked on BMWs. And I would kind of be at his shop part time, working on BMWs as well. And then I finally bought a small fixer upper, worked on my own car, kind of got the hang of it, and I started doing like mobile mechanic work. And I started a company called Alien Auto. It just kind of split off from my brother, and I was basically renting cars, flipping cars, and working on cars. And I was doing that all while going to school full time, getting my psychology degree. So,
Jeez.
so I did that, and I
Keeps
was,
getting better and better.
yeah, I basically transitioned from working at the forklift operator because I had an injury. I fell, cut my head open on a dock plate, and I was like, okay, this is enough. Because basically, I was going to school from 8 a.m. to around about 2 to 3, depending on the class I get out, and then I'd work from 7 p.m. to anywhere from 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning, and then it'd start all over again. It was extremely tough, and when I had the injury, that was really a wake-up call because I was exhausted. We had just came out of a safety meeting, and literally I slipped, fell, cut my eye open. It was gushing blood, and that was like when I was like, okay, I need to do something different. So I had a buddy, he was doing valet, and my brother was doing the car stuff. So I started taking the car stuff more serious, kind of went under his wing. And then I also was doing valet part-time. So as I transitioned away from my brother and I realized I can kind of do these things on my own, it was mostly oil changes, brake jobs, just changing out spark plugs, tune-ups, part swap, stuff I can do really quick. I had business cards on me. And then once I started getting more shifts as a valet, I ended up becoming a valet manager. I ended up getting a more secure location. I was grinding, working on cars, and then I was doing the valet stuff. And as a valet, it was also gave me the ability to kind of just network
Network, yeah.
yeah, so it was really cool doing that. And then from there, I started to get into trading because I'd be at the Valet stand and we were bored. I'd get on Robinhood and we start day trading, and then that led into some friends who were like into business. So my trading friends were also hand in hand into business, and then that's when I started Baumgras Consulting, which was literally just me trying to have a consulting business and learning how to have a holding company that owns my other businesses to start layering the businesses. So that kind of set to the side for a while. And I just did a few, I called them business starter courses. And I started a little online course where I was showing people how to set up their LLC and get funding, and basically transition from personal credit to business credit. Then start to, leverage their tax deductions. And that is when I started to get into the production and created a production company. And then the microgreens kind of came after, because the production company was really just to create digital products. And since I was filming myself for the business course, I realized, why not start another business to write off all of the equipment that I'm buying for the film, the green screen, all of the stuff that I was shooting. And then we transitioned that to the microgreens, because that really was just a basement hobby, because I wanted to have nutrient dense, healthy food for myself and my friends. And then people started to really enjoy it. And then I gave some just little samples out to chefs, and they were like, this is way fresher than what we have. So then I had small sales coming from that. And then I really kind of just documented the process with my production company. We got to the point where it's no longer the basement thing. It transitioned to the warehouse. And then after about a year's time of doing that, and sales kind of slowing up from COVID, that's when I was starting to transition into something else. And my buddy was, like I said, he was already doing claims inspection, not for Hancock, but for another company, working on his adjuster's license. And I was like really interested in the whole construction and roofing and all that stuff, because I've always been handy. I've always been good with my hands and stuff. Once I got to Hancock and I saw how much like work it actually entailed to run a company, having people out there independent. And mind you, like, you're an independent contractor, no one's holding your hand. You are, once you get let go and you're certified, you're ready to go, and they pass you off, you are being sent out to the middle of nowhere by yourself. And you are the life blood cell of that company. You are the standard.
Is that safe? Is that, I mean, they just send you like a sheep out into the wolves?
If he lives, he lives. If he dies, he dies.
Wow. That's why they're 1099s and not employees.
Exactly, because they can get rid of you for any reason. They can terminate your services. Those guys are really strict and they require a lot out of you, but it paid really good. It was a lot of money. Like my first month I made $1,000 working with them, but it was exhausting work. I mean, imagine waking up from 6 a.m. and working till about
yeah. Levi, would you consider that job to be when you started kind of your own business? Because it seems like they provide you a little bit, but you're on your own. So I guess I want to get into more like
the contractor stuff.
Well, just was there a decision to? It sounds like you're what we call a serial entrepreneur, right? You start a gazillion businesses, and you're trying to keep all these different things under this one umbrella. But
so many people they're scared of that decision too. I mean, they build it into something that where you've simplified it to just interests.
Well, it sounds like you've even coached some people on how to start their own. So you probably see that, right?
Oh man, yeah. I have buddies that I've set up their landscaping business, their electrician business. See, the business consultant side, it never stopped. And it's funny you asked that, because we're about to transition into how all of this came about. Because all of this, until I did Hancock, and I got out there and saw for myself what it really took to make this kind of money. Because it had always been a dream to make like $5 a week. Oh my God, that's unbelievable. But then I saw 7 days a week, driving at 6, 7 different clients, sometimes 8 clients within a day. I saw how much money I was probably making for that company, right? I knew if I'm getting this much money, the company must be making, 5 times more. So we're killing it. And then I realized, okay, I was like, it takes tools, drive, ambition, good technology, CRM system, employees, quality leads, and, just having a golden standard across the board and having a level of professionalism that keeps the client coming back. Well, so I took a leap of faith, and so I said, okay, let's go on the fixing side. And let's start out with what you know. I was like, I know how to paint, I know how to do floors here and there, and I knew how to do little things. But I also knew whatever I didn't know, I could quickly learn and find out. And this is one of the gifts that me and my father have. And we spoke about it the other day, but he said, we have the gift of mastery and looking as if we have mastery of something, even though it may be our first time doing it. And I was like, I
hey,
said,
people work hard to try to get to that point of
yeah,
that, and that's a
yeah, it really is. And I'm not gonna lie, the greater gift next to it is the grit and the perseverance, because I cannot tell you how many days I woke up. This is the hard part that you're talking about, people getting over that hump, especially as a business owner, because I still go through it. I feel a little bit more ease and a little bit more less pressure within my day-to-day activity, because I have more confidence now. I have tools, I got money, I've built business credit, trade lines. It allows me to kind of flow a lot different than your average handyman or general contractor. It really came from the grit. It really came from that resilience and continuing to push and taking on jobs that, I cannot tell you how many times I took on a job and I didn't even know how to do the job. And I just researched it, called people up, asked questions, stayed long hours in Home Depot talking with that one old guy in the corner. And just until it started to click, I put myself through my own
camp.
boot camp, and I got paid during my tuition. It was really cool, because and mind you, like I never bit off more than I could chew. Like I came close sometimes, but my biggest thing, especially in the beginning, was no one knows you. You're gonna have to build a name for yourself. You're gonna have to get reviews. You're gonna have to be honest. You're gonna have to work hard and really give people deals. Like when I first started out, I gave so many deals and discounts. I lowballed myself time and time again, because I knew even if I got a fraction of what this is truly costing, it's allowing me the opportunity to do the job, learn how to do it, and I'm still getting paid to do it.
And get your name out there too. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So that built referrals, that built 5-star reviews. Then in 2024, I went harder. I stopped doing, doorknob installations and TV mounts and furniture assembly. And I started taking on whole home extensions, drywall repair, floors. I never done tile before, but I started tiling, took on a small tile project, and I said, oh, wow. Then I learned how to do, it's crazy.
So it's fearlessness, really. You just, you
Absolutely.
get past that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So going back, you said something a minute ago, like you stopped doing this, then you started doing. Do you not take the small jobs anymore?
Rarely. When I wake up every week, the point where I'm at right now, but simple doesn't always mean easy
Or effective.
Yeah.
So utilizing them, they push heavy on organic marketing. They push heavy on professionalism. So as far as back to your question about the small jobs, I'm focusing a lot more on the bigger jobs. Since we have Super Service Award for 2024, there's a badge displayed on my profile. I still have nothing but 5-star reviews, lengthy reviews that people actually took the time to type out. So we get organically selected already for a bunch of stuff. And I don't know what it is. Part of me thinks it's not that many great handyman in Atlanta, but I know we have amazing reviews. I know when I first started this game, it was 3 things that I did not change. Like I was a stickler about 3 things. If you got a call, you call them back immediately. Don't text them. Don't send an automated message.
You have no idea how few people answer the phone. No one answers the phone in trades.
No one answers.
It's crazy.
So when you do that, you've already beat 80% of your competition.
Outstanding.
And then usually the first person gets it. Number 2 is never give a quote over the phone. Oh my God. If I could just give free sauce right there. Don't ever give a quote over the phone, especially with any type of contract company, because people are inherently dishonest. When you get there, they try to price out the job, and then you get there and you learn there's a lot more into the job. And now the customer's upset because they've been promised this price. And it really doesn't work that way, with contracting. So, and then number 3 is this is a huge game changer. Invest in some sort of estimation software or some sort of estimation process, because
we'd love to hear that.
Yeah, because once I started doing that, it's like the low balling went out the window. You start to weed out your clients who are serious about the job. And if they can't afford it or if they don't want it, you're going to learn pretty quickly. My aim is to not win every job. If I'm winning every job, that's actually a problem. Either I'm charging too low or I'm just, I don't know, something ain't right. But there's always room to, make more profits and increase that profit. You just have to be dealing with the right client who's, either really passionate about their project or they just have that disposable income to enjoy your services, and that's what we do. I tell people I'm not the most expensive guy and I'm not the cheapest guy, but I am the guy that's always going to get the job done. And when we're there, we're going to treat you like Secret Service. We want you to be informed. We want to communicate with you the entire time. And that's helped out a ton because it really
Levi,
builds that
I know
trust.
that with all of the businesses that you started, is there still like one recurring thing of some aspect of it that you haven't figured out or that you struggle with? What would you?
Absolutely. My God, right now, I mean, scaling and hiring. I mean, I think that is the biggest bridge from transitioning from where I'm at to the next level, which is
Finding good people.
well,
Awesome.
yeah, finding good people, that's one thing. And we have a whole hiring process and we have special contracts that they sign so they're aware of all of the duties and responsibilities. Just once you get to that hiring point where you can have employees, the biggest thing is that you want to have consistent sales lined up. So these guys are pushing for us to line up clients for at least 3 to 6 months out before we even start thinking about hiring on anybody as a full-time employee or part-time employee. And the stage where I'm at, I'm still utilizing subcontractors. So I'd love to have that help. But as a growing business with all the expenses that I take on, there's some days where even if I have a small crew on one job, I may go to a whole nother job and do the entire job by myself. And that's not ideal. My mentor, he's currently helping me push out of that, but that is a huge hump to overcome unless you're just like, you're good and I guess you're financially stable and you could do that. Me, I'm more bootstrapping everything that I'm doing. And I have a son and I have a ton of expenses. I have a ton of businesses that have they're like children in their own way. It's just that once you get that business credit and utilize it, you got to pay your creditors. Like, don't push that off. You will get more credit as you pay off that business credit. And some people are all about just, yeah, I mean, you just got to really balance it out. Like, if you can make the minimum payments, sure, that's cool for you. But most people, they're going to get ate up by that interest. So I'm never making the minimum payment for anything. I always take leaps and bounds with the moves that I'm making. And it's insane. You got to have a high tolerance for a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
Hey, Levi, let me ask you, you talked briefly about the estimating and how you focus on profit and you turn some jobs down. Tell me more about what your process is for estimating. So do you dig into your costs and then have certain markups you add to your costs? What is your process? And do you use a specific estimating software that helps you do that? Or does it just say, this is what the market can bear, and then you don't really know your costs? I'm curious to see what you do.
so it started out in the beginning, like this was like, I can show you like the levels. Like level 1 was me just showing up and just coming up with an idea in my mind of what I think I would charge and then I kind of negotiate with the client to be like, does that feel good? Can your budget handle that? Right. So, and that's not good.
Throwing a dart at the dartboard.
Just, yeah, you're like, this seems like a $500 job. Can your budget handle that? And then we would just negotiate and I'd work it out. There's a lot of sweet old ladies that had patience with me when I was first starting. Then it transitioned. And here's the next stage is that I show up, I'd look at the job. I kind of look at the person and now I'm starting to look into I know a little bit more. I know the clients that I'm dealing with. I'm already starting to feel the pullback. I know when someone's cheap. I know when someone's, I start asking a little bit more questions.
You read the room.
I'm reading the room, I'm
Yeah.
reading my client, and then I'll get a statistic on what people would charge for this particular job. I would find a range between like, whether it was a flooring job, I'd find what does a person charge per square footage of this? What does someone charge square footage siding? What does someone charge square footage of drywall? So it started to get a little bit more professional because now I have numbers involved. I put the square footage, I have it there. And then now this final level where I'm kind of at, did all of that. So I utilize that now, and I can go in there and play with the numbers as well. If the hourly rate looks a little too low, I can change it. And still, if I want to give someone a discount, I can bring that down a little bit just to hit them in the range that feels a little more comfortable. In the form of this estimate, email to the client, and it would come with this. They could e-sign it, and it let them know that this is verified by a third party and is legally binding. So I do that for smaller projects. For smaller projects, I don't create a whole contract. Anything usually over I'd say if it's in the $5,000 range or past $3,000, I'll put a contract there to establish the time frame in which we're going to complete the job. I mean, it's really three main things. It's the time frame in which we're going to complete it, the change orders and all the governing agreements so that we're on the same page. And that's, of course, the most important, getting half down. So we get 50% of the payment, and that's within the contract. Usually if it's under like $2,000 or $3,000 and we're going to knock it out in like 1 or 2 days, I don't even require that anymore. And a lot of my clients, they just love that because they just pay in the end when they're satisfied with everything. And if they don't know me, even with all my references and stuff like that, it's easy for them to build that trust because it's like, hey, we'll cover all upfront costs, even if you don't want to do that 50% down.
To lose.
Nothing to lose.
All right.
And then after that, at the very end, we'll bill them, and that's done through QuickBooks because they can make the payment through the payment portal with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's pretty cool progression that you've had from a lot of things, obviously. But tell me about like where your future is. Where is Baumgras Consulting or any of your subsidiaries going to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? What's your goals? Or is it to sell the business or one of them, all of them? Tell us about
your son take over.
What's going to look like in 10 years.
Right, that would be very cool. I tell my little boy, he's only 3 right now, but I always tell him, you're going to be working on homes with daddy when you get older. Like, you're going to be working on homes with daddy.
Get him ready.
Make no mistake about that. So I created this company called Baumgras Painting, and that was primarily to niche down, get Baumgras Consulting back as a holding company, which I'm still wrestling with that because I still do a lot of home remodel stuff. And that's actually the area I'm in right now, is transitioning to sitting in the truck and getting guys doing these painting jobs, whether it's interior, exterior painting. I just want to scale and automate that, and scale and automate the tree cutting, and then maybe come back to construction and just create Baumgras Construction. But Baumgras Consulting is it owns all the businesses now. So the owner is an entity, which is Baumgras Consulting, and is now playing its role like it was supposed to be from the very beginning. And that was one of the things the guys at Contractor.com were like, okay, let's make this make sense. So I created a whole new company that's focusing just on painting, and I partnered up with a friend who did claims inspection with me, and we started Tree Hero, which was just a tree hero cutting business. I mean, a tree cutting business. So the goal right now is to scale each one of those the same way I've done this handyman construction business, to where it's bringing in, I'd like for each business to be bringing in at least minimum K a week. That would be great. And then move up to 10 and 20 and just build and expand. So I am working on my claims adjuster's license currently, and I am also working on my light commercial contracting license. Because I want to do general contractor, but it takes a lot. And I don't mind paying for the course and all that, but you have to have like $150,000 net profit or something like that. And you have to have a certain amount of time working under somebody in construction. So I'm just trying to get the contractor license so I can do a little bit more and make a little bit more, charge a little bit more, and then bring on more people. Because if I'm making more money, then it's no problem bringing these guys on and then having consistent pay for them.
You've got to get out of it, but you have this awesome work ethic though, Levi, where you're at the wheel, but you're also down in the engine room when things need to get done too. And that can be a wonderful thing, and it can also hamstring you sometimes.
Right. And that's what the thing that's really cool is, just the small adjustments that I've been making. Because like I said, the big thing for me this year was to get off the tools. And I set a goal, it was by June, and of course here we are past it. But I wanted to be off the tools by June. And I also wanted to have my weekends back, and I only wanted to work between really noon and 6 p.m. And I'm doing that right now, and I'm making more money. So far it's working. I just have to continue pushing and continue pushing these organic forms of marketing so that I'm not having to throw a ton of money out there on trial and error with different softwares and programs and stuff like that. Because I've been there and I've done that. And I realized what worked is getting out there, showing up, being on time, looking professional, doing what you say you're gonna do, having high integrity, and
trusting those people that you hire to. So many owners they're guarding their name and their credibility and their reputation, and it's trusting those people to go out and continue that great reputation. And that's
Absolutely
not easy.
It's not. And I'm very afraid of that. Actually, that's one of the things we talk about is I'm like, I don't want to lose my 5-star rating. I'm like, I'm working really hard for that. And all it takes is one guy showing up late or doesn't have his pants pulled up or a collared shirt on.
Yeah.
Because
an angry person that woke up looking to
your
get
attitude.
That's a challenge that I would say almost all of our guests on Swivl Sessions has said has been the number one challenge is hiring people, and I've been there too. I know it's tough. But so man, we could talk for hours, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, your journey is inspiring. I mean, a serial entrepreneur that
Thank you.
it'd be fun to watch you. How old are you now?
I'm 35.
All right, you got plenty of time to be doing what you're doing, and you're going to do well. I can assure you that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or the insights that you shared about starting your businesses and navigating through those challenges have been super valuable. Before you wrap things up, is there anything else that you would share to our audience? So particularly those who are looking at starting their own business. You said a few things already that I thought would be poignant, but some final advice for those who are looking to kind of follow in your footsteps or start their own business in field service.
Whew. I will say this, that a lot of what has helped me be successful has nothing to do with the work that I do. Keep track of your finances. Really push yourself to get out of your comfort zones. Talk to people. Information is free. But learn the ins and outs of your business, learn the ins and outs of your market before you begin. The old economy is, slowly dying away. Well, I should say quickly, but everything's turning into a digital thing. So if you can get yourself on the web, as well as having those like older methods of getting your name out there, I like a hybrid combination of the two. I want to be able to pass you a flyer and a business card, and you see me in person and you feel my energy, and you also can see that same energy and style and theme. So it's a combination of all those things: cash flow and getting those jobs and allocating your money in the right places.
You know what? Technology it's a big part of it, but it doesn't ever replace good trade skills.
Never.
And that's wonderful about that.
Skills. So, man, that's a lot of advice for someone starting out, but a lot of good pointed advice.
It's almost a religion with Levi. I love it.
Yeah, but a lot of Anyway, thank you for sharing your journey and your insights. And it really
Absolutely
was great speaking to you today. And thank you for taking the time out for us.
Absolutely.
You're a great story. And I love those serial entrepreneur stories. And those will resonate with a lot of other aspiring entrepreneurs too. And hopefully inspire them to pursue their own paths. It's been great talking to you and hearing about your journey. Thank you to Levi Baumgras for sharing those valuable insights and stories. It's great to see how much your hard work, passion, and dedication you put into building Baumgras Consulting and your other
keyword passion.
Yes.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, you guys.
And for all those who are watching or listening here in the greater Atlanta area and are in need of professional handyman services, reach out to Baumgras Consulting. You can find their contact information right here on the screen.
Put your finger up, Levi. Right.
And believe me, you can trust that you're working with a true, reliable expert in the field. So once again, thank you, Levi, for being with us here on Swivl Sessions.
Levi, amazing. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for listening or watching. Swivl's field service software is everything you need to run your field service business for free. Till next time, check us out at swivl.tech. That's SWIVL.tech.